Okay, so in this instruction, we have seen that you have bit test file skip if clear. The syntax is bit test file skip if clear. F file register, comma B, comma A. Okay, so the binary code will be 1011. So this is the opcode of the instruction. Then we have 3 bits to write the A, 3 bits to write the value of the bit, 1 bit for writing the A, and 8 bits for writing the F. Now let's see an example. Write a program to monitor RB2 until it becomes high. So monitor, yani you have to keep monitoring. So you have to keep checking B2. When this happens, write 45 to port C and send high to low pulse to RD3. So here we have an example in which we have to monitor RB2. So to monitor RB2, this suppose that we have, for example, a sensor connected on B2, or we have a push button, or we have a switch connected on B2. Okay, so when V2 becomes high, okay, we have to write 45 on port C, and we have to send high to low pulse on D3. So first of all, B2 should be input or output? We have to monitor B2 input. So we have to monitor, yani this bit is input. So we have to keep testing the value of B2. So B2 should be input. Okay, so we have to write 45 to port C. Port C should be input or output?
Output.
Output. Since you are writing to port C, so port C will be output. And you have to send high to low pulse to RD3. High to low pulse, yani initially we are 0, we have to send high pulse and then low pulse. So we have to send pulse like this. We can call it high or low, high, low pulse. Okay, so if initially we have the value 0, if we send high to low pulse, so we have to use bit set file followed by bit clear file. Okay, so how to send pulse on D3? So D3 should be output. Okay, so we can start with input output configuration. So B2 should be input, so bit set file 3CB, 2. Port C should be output, so clear F, DC, and D3 should be output, so bit clear file port D, 3. So this is the input output configuration. Then we can load the value 45 on the W, and we can start checking B2. So here we have bit test file skip if set port B, 2. Now, if B2 is clear, if B2 is 0, what happens in our program? So if B2 is 0, there is no skip. We have to execute branch again, and you have to keep the looping here. So as long as B2 is 0, we will keep looping. Now, once B2 becomes high, here we have skip, because we have skip if set. So skip, what does it mean? We have to skip the branch again, and you have to execute move WF port C. So we have to load the value 45 to port C. So this is to answer to this part, write 45 to port C. And then we have to send high to low pulse on D3. How to send high to low pulse? We have seen that you have to use bit set file port D, 3, and then bit clear file port D, 3. So this will generate first bit set file, then bit clear file. This will generate pulse on the pin D3. Here we have an example of using bit test file skip if set or bit test file skip if clear. Any question about this?
ايوه دكتور.
Yes.
احنا في اللاب عندنا لما مثلا نستخدم تريس، اي نوع من تريس، اذا كان اوتبوت نستخدم اللات ما نستخدم البورت. ايش وضع اللات هذه؟
نستخدم ايش؟
اللات بدل البورت.
ما في مشكله. بالنسبه للداتا شيت، بالنسبه لبيك 18 تستخدم اللات او تستخدم البورت، نفس الشيء. الفرق هو في الانبوت. يعني if you
inputs.
are if you are connecting for example a capacitor on the bit, or for example you have touch screen, you want to connect this bit to touch screen. يعني if you have capacitive load or if you have inductive load and you send the value to the bit and then you want to read the value from the bit, in that case it is better to read from the latch. But if you want to switch on, you can use either the port or the latch. It doesn't matter. Okay, but if you want to read, if you read from the latch, you will read the value that you sent previously. If you read from the port, you will read the value that is in the hardware. واضح الفرق أم لا؟
صراحة لا.
Okay, let's have here B3. And B3 is connected to the capacitor. And the capacitor is connected to the ground. Okay, now you use it bit set 5, port B, 3. So you have here set. If you have set, and here you will make 1. Okay, but the capacitor is discharged. So the capacitor will start doing this, will start charging. Okay, if just after the bit set 5, you want to read this value. If you read the value from the latch register, you will find this value that you sent previously. But if you read the value from the port, you will find the actual value that is in the port. So if you read the value just after sending the set, you will read the value 0. Why? Because the capacitor didn't charge. And here time is very short time. So it's not enough for charging the capacitor, especially if you have a high capacity capacitor. So when you read it, you will find it as 0. When you read it from the port, you will find the value as 0. But if you read from the latch, you will read it as 1 because you have already the previous value 1 in the latch. فهمنا الفرق أم لا؟ يعني البورت هو hardware outside the peak, outside the peak. اللاتش هي قيمة اللاتش قبل البين، يعني داخل البيك مايكروكنترولر. So we have this sort of problem if you have capacitor, if you have capacitive load, or if you have inductive loads. But for switching on or switching off, you can use either the latch or the port, it doesn't matter. Okay?
Okay.
So for the input, if you are reading from the port, you are reading the real value that you have in the pin. If you are reading from the latch, you are reading the value that you sent previously to the latch. This is the difference. So to switch on or switch off, you can use either the latch or the port. For reading, I give you the difference between the two possibilities. Okay. If you have resistive load, it doesn't matter. You can read from the latch, you can read from the port, you will read the same value. Let's see another example. The switch is connected on pin RB0. So this is RB0, and you have a push button connected on RB0. You have an LED connected on B7. On the pin B7, you have an LED connected. We have to write a program to get the status of the switch and send it to the LED. Yani if the switch is open, the LED will be off. If the switch is pressed, the LED will be on. So here we have seen this example previously in the class. We want just to keep monitoring RB2. So here RB0, sorry, so B0 should be input, B7 should be output, and we have to keep monitoring B0. How to keep monitoring B0? By using btest file skip if set, or by using btest file skip if clear. Okay, so let's see now the program that you have here. So we have bit set file 3b, 0. So the bit B0 here is input or output?
Input.
Input. Bit set 5 3CB, 0. That means B0 is input. Bit clear 5 3CB, 7. That means B7 is
Output.
output. Very good. So this part is called input output configuration. Then you have to start our loop. So you can see that if you want to monitor one bit, it should be within an infinite loop. Okay. So I have bit test file skip if set port B, 0. So as long as B0 is 0, there is no skip, we have go to O. So we keep looping here as long as the B0 is 0. Now, if the user press the push button, so B0 will be 1. So if B0 is 1, we have here set. So if you have set, yani bit set file port B, 7, and then go to again. Okay, so here I will repeat, sorry, we have go to over here. Let's use the highlighter. Okay, so in this case, what do we have? If the push button is pressed, push button is pressed. So you can see that we have VCC connected to B0. So B0 will be 1. In that case, we have set. Set, yani, in that case, we have skip if set, yani you will skip which instruction? We will skip the go to over. We have bit set file port B, 7, so the LED will be on. And then we have go to again, we will check again. Now, if the push button is not pressed, if the push button is released, if the push button is released, you can see that B0 is connected to the ground via this resistor. Okay, so the value here that is 0. Now, if it is 0, here we have go to over, not go to again, we have go to over. So go to over, we have to jump here to over. And then what do we have? We have bit clear file port P, 7. So we have to switch off the LED and then go to again, we have to start checking the bit again. So you can see that it should be within infinite. Now, if you want to use here bit test file skip if clear, what do you have to change?
الأوفر ممكن.
So we have to change the labels, or we can change bit set file with bit clear file. So here bit test file skip if clear. So if it is a clear, we have a skip. In that case, we have to clear the LED and then go to again. If it is set, if it is set, so there is no skip, we have go to over. We have to jump to the over, and here it should be S. Okay, so to make the test, you can use either the bit test file skip if set or bit test file skip if clear. Any question about this? No questions. Okay, so we have seen that for the LED, we have two modes. You have the current sinking mode and you have the current sourcing mode. Okay, so same thing for the switch, you have two ways to connect the switch. So if this is our PIC microcontroller, this is our input pin. So we can connect the switch like this, or we can connect the switch like this. So in the first circuit, the push button, press it. What is the value of the input pin? If the push button is pressed or if the switch is closed?
1.
It will be 1 because the switch is closed. So we have VCC connected to the input pin. So here we have the logical value 1. Now, if the push button, let's suppose that we have push button and the push button is released. So if the push button is released, what is the value that we have? So
0.
we have open circuit here. We have this resistor connected to the ground. So this bit will be connected to the ground. So if the push button is released, we have the logical value 0. Whereas in this circuit, when the push button is released, we have VCC connected to the input via this resistor. And if the push button is closed, now if we close the switch, you can see that this input pin will be directly connected to the ground, so the value will be 0. That means if you want to write a program reading the value of the switch, you have to check first of all the hardware. You have to check how the switch is connected. To know which function you have to use, bit-test5 skip if set or bit-test5 skip if clear. واضح شباب؟
واضح دكتور.
Let's see another example. So here we have an example from the textbook. So I have assumed that the RB3 is an output, is an input pin, and represent the condition of door alarm. We have here just a contact switch connected to the door. Okay, so if it goes low, it means that the door is open. So we have to monitor continuously this bit. Whenever it goes low, yani the door is open, we have to send high to low pulse to RC5. So what do we have on RC5? We have a buzzer. So we have to write a program so that when the door is open, we have to ask the buzzer to make a beep. So if you send this pulse to the buzzer, so the buzzer will make a beep. Okay. So same idea, we have to continuously check RB3. B3 should be input. C5 should be output. So this is for the input-output configuration. Then we have to check continuously B3. So in this example, we have to check B3. Whenever it goes low, that means the door is open, and then we have to send this pulse to the buzzer. Okay, so here we'll use bit-test5 skip if clear. So here we have to send the pulse if the bit is clear. So we use bit-test5 skip if clear. Now, if the value is 0, there is a skip. In that case, we have to send the pulse to the buzzer. So how to send the pulse to the buzzer? Bit set 5, port C, 5, and then bit clear 5, port C, 5. So you can add here in between call delay to make the buzzer beep with a certain delay. And then we have to return back. Don't forget, you have to make it infinite loop. You have to branch to here. Now, as long as the value is 1, there is no skip, the peak will be looping here. If the value becomes 0, there is a skip. We skip the branch to here. We have bit set 5, and then we have bit clear 5. So you can see that in this example, you are asked to check the value of RB3 directly. We are not checking the push button or the sensor. Here, the question is just to check directly RB3. But if you are asked to check the push button, in that case, you have to verify which connection do you have with the push button. And if the push button is pressed, what is the value that you have? It is 0 or 1. We have done here chapter 4.
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Can you go back?
Yes.
And in the final sentence, send high to low pulse, right?
Yes.
So
initially,
if I have a question,
initially the buzzer is off. When the user open the door, we have to send high to low. So we have to use bit set 5 followed by bit clear 5. So this is high to low pulse. This is a high to low pulse. So if you have 0,
if I have,
and then you send how to low pulse, so you will find this waveform. So this will make short beat. Okay, that's why I prefer to add here call the delay subroutine between the set and the reset, between set and clear. Okay.
Okay, Doctor, can I have the opposite low to high? Send low to high or not?
So if it is initially low and you use low to high, what does it mean? And you have to make it low and then you have to make it high. So it will be beeping على طول يعني, okay? This will not
Yes.
stop beeping.
Mm.
This will stop beeping just for if you open the door again, this will stop and then it will return back on. Okay.
Yes, I got it. Okay. خلاص. وضحت.
شكرا. Any other question? Okay, I will give you homework. Let's make white screen. Let's have this circuit. And we have two push buttons. We have one push button connected on B0. This is VCC, and we have one push button connected on VCC. This is called push button 0. And we have another push button connected on B1. And it is called push button 1. And here we have B1. We have an LED on B7 connected like this. So we want to write a program so that if push button 0 pressed, this will make the LED on, or let's make it off, yeah. And if push button 1 pressed, this will make the LED on. So this is your homework for the next class, inshallah, after the vacation, okay?
Inshallah.
Okay, Doctor.
Inshallah. Okay, so thank you for attending and see you inshallah next class. So after the vacation, we'll correct inshallah this homework and then we'll start the chapter 3. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, so thank you for attending. I will convert this video and I will upload it on the net and I will send you the link.
Okay, thank you, Doctor.
Welcome. Yalla, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We can leave.
وعليكم السلام.